on, but we're just gonna give it a few minutes. Hold on. I need to take some drugs.
I'll drink to that.
Oh, and I didn't get a beer. I'll do that next thing. All right, everyone.
Yeah, don't mix your beer with your
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody at least online yet, but it doesn't matter because is this thing going?
Pivot this a little.
Talking to it a minute.
Hello.
Okay, you're good.
Okay.
All right, I don't really even. We do have two.
Microphone on my face.
Yeah. We do have two.
It might be an improvement, but I don't want it on my face.
We do have two people online, but people could always watch this afterwards. This isn't like really for a live extravaganza. We're gonna start and stop. This is gonna be a standalone stream, but I figure what would be a cool kind of quasi cultivar 1R thing is to discuss what's going on with my assassination.
Well, before we get into that, we must do something.
Uh-oh. What are you doing to me now? See, I would have put that on. I'll put it on for the next one. I asked you and you ignored me. Perfect.
I was setting you up.
Perfect. Thank you. Look. Now people are going to want to buy. Oh my God. Okay, well, for this portion, I'll wear the black one. But for the next portion, I'll wear this one. Is that good?
Works for me.
Okay, perfect. You are a sweetheart. Oh my God. But people are going to be looking for this on our store, and these are special edition.
These were customized through a wonderful resource I have up in Idaho that does special tie dye jobs for me.
Well, we'll introduce that in the next thing. But by the way, for the standard ones, I'll make a little screen thing for our next one, but I did a tiny URL. But for those of you who might want your own non-tie-dye, I put you on Do Not Disturb. Whoops, it's my freaking bill collectors. Decline. Okay, I will fix that before the next stream. Let me see here. But the tweets on your live streams have all been, let's talk about. I don't get it.
Maisy's review rather than your current tall.
Tall? Tail? What? I don't get it, Ryan.
I think what he's saying is that the title got whacked out.
Oh! But the tweets on your live streams. Why is it tweeting?
I don't know.
I'll have to look into that, Ryan. Restream might be doing something weird. Thank you, though. Because I did update the titles. Mike saw me.
I did.
And the current title, like, I'll let you see right here, the current title for my tweets. I know, don't do it. The current, watch, here's social alerts. And you'll see my current tweet is join me at 8:30 Mountain. It's not even Mises.
Oh, actually that one is. That is.
Ooh, why is it doing that? Okay. Well, let's fix this right now, shall we? So join me live to discuss why removal of an LNC officer requires a trial. And let me go over to I know you guys are like, what are you talking about? And Daniel, I'm going to give you that shout out in a minute. I was actually very worried about you. I was going to call you later. Are you staying in New Orleans? I was just talking with Wayne about, I just learned that you guys were going through a hurricane. I am so sorry. I haven't been with it. Oh, no. We do not want double sound. Thank you. Okay. All right. So I'm just doing that. And I'm going to do this. This should fix Twitter when I hit update. Ryan, if you can let me know if my Twitter just updated. Actually, see your videos? Okay, I haven't really been online. Actually, I'm just going to update it manually. Okay, Twitter should be good now.
Looks right.
Okay,
yeah.
Perfect. Alrighty, let me now push that down. Okay, so now we've got 13 people. healthy number. And people can watch this later. Now, Mike and I have not pre-discussed this because I like when we sometimes...
And to be fair, I haven't had a chance to look things over worth a damn either.
Okay.
So I'm seated the pantsing this here.
All right, so we may not agree or we may agree. I have no idea. But the first argument I'm going to make, I know you'll agree with.
Comments first.
What?
Stephen Nass. In the comments.
Oh, yes. Oh, sorry. Yes, thank you, Stephen. But let me let you know their strategy. because they've tipped their hand a bit. See, the strategy is, and one of them I can't talk about yet. I'll be able to talk about soon, but there's things going on, has nothing to do with my removal or anything. There's just certain things that are going, I can't even talk about it. There's other stuff going on that has nothing to do with it, but will be out soon, and then I can disclose more. But the game...
It's a timing problem, folks.
Yeah, but the game that's going to be played, first of all, let me just... Oh, scam likely! Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Okay. That was 3s that they could add to my crimes. I said the F-bomb 3 times. Okay.
At least it didn't list the phone number as the LP office. You didn't like phone number at all.
Yeah, my God.
Yes, I said that. Too bad.
What was I going to say? Oh, the game.
Should have took that one.
The game that's probably about my car warranty expiring.
Or it could be the Social Security Administration Department about some fraudulent activity on your account.
And they're going to come arrest me unless I get them eBay gift cards or something.
Right.
A scam call on the video would have been amazing.
He has a point.
That is true. We could, you know what? That would have been great. But
hello, live. You're on the air.
The game that's going to be played is, if I get removed, then they're going to make this big show and pretense about, look how peaceful it is. Look how functional we are now that she's gone. And it will be a big game and pretense because the hand already has been tipped on that a little bit. Just an FYI.
I think the term you're looking for is dog and pony show.
Basically.
Complete with all the manure, yes.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, this current motion has nothing to do with...
I'm laughing at the comment.
Yeah.
Don't keep going.
This current motion has nothing to do with my alleged behavior on the LNC list. It has to do with my alleged behavior on my YouTube channel and my social media, which, if they suspend me, I mean, you know, it's a case of be careful what you wish for. Do they think I'm going to behave myself more, like shut up if I'm suspended? They're just going to get more because I'm actually quite...
We're gonna get louder!
Yes, this is streaming on Facebook and YouTube, Bill. And it helps if everyone kind of goes to YouTube so everyone can see everyone else's comments. Because right now it's on like 4 different pages on Facebook and nobody sees all the comments. So it is on my YouTube channel, Pink Flame of Liberty. That's easiest way. So I'm obviously not going to get quieter if they suspend me. So this alleged, you know, problematic person that I am is certainly not going to improve if I'm suspended because I obviously, believe it or not, I am kind of restrained in some of the things I'd like to say right now.
Never.
And
that's why she has me around, folks, because I don't have that constraint.
I know, and I'm constantly having to go, zip it, Mike.
While nodding her head and agreeing with me, yes.
But the funny thing is, and a member brought this up, and I'm sure they're going to add this episode to my alleged crimes as well, but a member brought up to Ms. Epke, did you really just say that we want her to be just a member saying these things because it's easy to ignore members? Did Ms. Epke just say, this is what a member asked her, did you just really just say you ignore members? And that's kind of, It's kind of what she said.
Which goes completely to the utter disconnect of what is going on with certain people in the LNC.
Right.
Their job is not to ignore the members. Their job is to listen to them.
Right.
To represent them. To
why do
administer
they
the party
think?
for them.
And I woke up in the middle of the night realizing really what this is all about. What this is all about is that I have violated the rule of, almost like the rule of Fight Club, right? You don't talk about Fight Club. Well, I violated the rule of bureaucracy. You don't bypass the bureaucracy and go directly to the members. I felt like the members were not being heard or represented.
I thought that was the first rule of bureaucracy.
Well,
that you do bypass the bureaucracy and go to the members.
Well, if you want to be a good representative, but not if you want to be in with the other bureaucrats. So, so I saw that the members weren't being represented when it came to the whole COVID issue, and then obviously when it came to the New Hampshire issue, and I went populist on them. I went directly to the members. I bypassed the bureaucrats and I went directly to the members. If you want to know what I am on trial for, it isn't any of this bullshit. It's for going directly to you. That is what I'm being tried for.
Did you get a new tattoo?
It's
Temporary?
fake. It's fake.
It's
yeah, no, it's fake. But I think
Sorry, I just noticed that.
Yeah, but
and I was like, wait, what is that?
Yeah, no, it is. But I'm actually
Put
thinking
that on the list of crimes. She
Yes.
got an anarchist temporary tattoo.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that good? Look, she's a fraud. She's violating the NAP. She's making you believe she has a tat. No, but I might actually get an anarchy tattoo. I'd really like it. I'd got this. I wouldn't do it right here because of job and stuff. I don't know, but I kind of like it. We'll see. But I don't have money yet because I'm still unemployed. And in fact,
no, that doesn't mean do a patron for the tattoo.
Yeah. Hey, do a patron for the tattoo. I don't care. What can they do? Suspend me twice? I would love to hear on the list of charges against me, them added, and they're paying for an anarchy tattoo for her.
Motion to rescind and expunge from the records.
You know, I don't, there's nothing, it can't be worse right now. They're just, it's really disgusting. Well, everyone knows it, but I just wanted...
They could make it work if they really wanted to.
Not really. What are they going to do, remove me twice?
They got more bullshit.
Well, but it'll be bullshit, though. They don't have anything real on me. I've done it.
They didn't have anything real on Angela Keaton, and their argument against removing Lee Rice was bullshit too, but that is something I'm trying.
But they both prevailed.
Yes, they did.
So...
I was there for both of them. I actually helped Lee, and Angela to a lesser extent.
But even...
Which is why I'm here now.
Yeah, outside of prevailing, I mean, because I've gone to the members, I trust the members to see through all of this. The ones who want to. The people who already didn't like me still don't. It's just so they still don't. I don't care. You can't help that. But, okay, well, so, but back to the main subject here.
Whoever he is, he can't be heard?
Do
you mean me?
I don't.
Talking to Michael Morrison, do you mean me? You can't hear me, or what's going on?
Yeah, because it's pinging.
Because it's pinging the mic.
It's pinging it just as good as me. So maybe bring it a little closer, though.
Is that any better? Even though it's in my face.
Yeah, it's pinging.
Yeah.
And let me do something. I want to pull my volume all the way down to make sure your mic is actually on. So we'll talk it. Let me pull mine down.
Yeah, it's showing.
Yeah, your mic is on. So
Michael Morrison, we're referring to you can't hear me? But they're saying move closer to the microphone. Well, I'm with the microphone closer to me.
Yeah, that.
How's that?
Oh, I know what part of the problem is.
What?
I think.
It's not on.
No, it's no. Are you talking into the right part of it? Okay, this is the back. Here's the front. You weren't talking to.
Is that any better?
Oh, I know it's wrong. You're thinking you talking to here.
You're talking to here.
It's a side address microphone like this one.
Okay. In that case, let me do this a little bit.
Yeah. And I didn't even notice.
Okay, so let's see here now. So let's bring this.
Yeah, it's a side address.
Like this.
Yes.
Okay, and then bring this forward here.
Yeah, and you might want to then angle it a little because that's the front. Right.
Okay, how's that?
Oh, you're really pinging now.
That's better. Okay, that explains what's going on. Okay.
Pull down.
Her microphone's off the edge of the screen, so.
Yeah, and it's
okay.
This isn't a normal.
Thank you, Stephen. That helps us out.
Yeah, and I didn't even look because the last microphone we had for Mike was a front address, and this is a side address, so two totally different kinds of microphones.
Technical details.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty. I hear Wayne. So on to the topic.
Wayne, creak the floor.
And he's doing a good job of it. So I think the first point I'm going to make has nothing to do with R1R in particular or our bylaws. And this, I think, should be non-controversial. Let's forget right now for a second what Robert's or our bylaw says. A basic point of libertarian principle is due process. Mm-hmm. You don't need a bylaw to tell you that, and you don't need Roberts to tell you that. And here's the fact. A motion, they're doing better than Richard did last time, because at least they're not trying to do it by email ballot. They're at least having the motion live at a meeting, but a motion does not allow me to prepare and do a complete defense. It limits my speaking time to 20 minutes for one thing, 10 minutes one time, 10 minutes a second time, if I even get a second time, because they can stonewall me and call the question, right? Mm-hmm. They could, there's lots of things they could do. They could make this motion and call the question and deny me, because that only takes them is it a 2/3? That is a 2/3 vote. Isn't it for call the question? Now I'm getting
2/3.
I'm getting stupid. My mind's not right. Yeah, because it's a motion to end debate, basically. 2/3.
That is 2/3.
Yeah, but still, they could do that.
What was that?
What?
We said a super.
Yeah, we had a super chat. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And thank you. I was gonna scroll up to get to. You're getting so distracted by the comments.
Well, I was looking and trying to get the microphone adjusted when I saw it pop up on the screen.
Yes. So well, let's thank you for that now, and they can add this to my list of crimes because apparently I'm not allowed to be a capitalist. Thank you, Charles Lazara. And I was born in Connecticut. If you didn't know, I was born in Bridgeport. A lot of people don't know that. I moved to Florida, not me, my family. Quite obviously, I didn't, wasn't.
So your family escaped?
Yeah, actually, in a funny way, they did, because my dad was a bit mobbed up, and they were running away.
Oi.
Yeah.
I was being a joke, not literal.
No, it was quite literal. And so I was only 6 months old, so I can't say I moved. I wasn't a precocious infant that just said, I'm going to move to Florida. My family moved to Florida when I was 6 months old.
You probably said, I do.
Yeah. But I was born in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And, until my grandparents recently passed away. Well, not even, God, it hasn't been recent. Well, let's just, whole other thing, whatever. My grandparents were there. But I'm going to answer these questions in a minute. I don't want to be, I want to get to the ends of certain points, because I see I'm going to take the comments off if he keeps getting so fucking distracted. He can't handle, he's like, a bird.
Well, I could do this. I could do this.
A bird.
Like a fish.
So, the fundamental libertarian principle of due process. Again, and Buenos Tardes too. So I am getting distracted as well. So a motion in a meeting is not due process. It's better than an email. I at least can get maybe a little bit of time to talk, but not by much. Why? Because I have the right to face and cross-examine my accusers. Mm-hmm. You do not get to do that in a motion. You just can't. You can't get confrontational, because that would be indecorous. There's a lot of things.
Everything has to be addressed to the chair.
To the chair.
You can't directly address the person making the accusations.
And the chair can decline me even being able to, not that I'm saying she would, I'm just saying what's possible.
Yes.
I'm not trying to make any aspersions toward Whitney. Could decline.
We're talking process here.
Yeah, decline me asking questions. Now let me tell you why due process is so important here. And I'm going to give you a preview into a little bit of what the problem is. And some people will say I shouldn't discuss this, but this isn't part of their evidence. This is part of mine. And I don't play, let's keep things secret. I like saying what my case is. And this is something you guys might not know. Richard Longstreth, and he's going to be all upset now that I mentioned his name, but he's a public figure who says things, okay? So Richard Longstreth wrote me an email in July and said that the core group of people trying to remove me have been working on this for a year. Now let that sink in. What is a year from July 2021? That is July 2020. It means immediately after I was elected by the delegates, there were some butt-hurt, ass-mad people who were trying to work on removing me immediately after I was elected, meaning they've been looking to subvert the will of the delegates since day one. I have a right to cross-examine Richard on this. Also, in the same email, now they've lied about me, or she maybe misunderstood. I don't even want to say lie. She misrepresented what I said, and perhaps it's a good faith misinterpretation. We'll clear this up in the trial if I get one.
I err on the side of misrepresentation on a deliberate side.
Well, I'm just trying to be.
But that's my own personal bias.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be fair here.
Put that on your list too.
Yeah, well, you can't remove him. So
they've tried. Trust me, it don't work.
So Laura claims that Clubhouse notification.
What the hell is that?
It's another social program. It's really cool. I'm just going to let that sit on the screen. So Laura claims that I said, which I never did, that that LNC members were purposely trying to make me want to commit suicide. I've never said that.
I know for a fact you didn't say that.
Right. So, but here's the funny thing. In the same email, Richard Longstreth asked me if I was trying to make him commit suicide. So he actually did accuse me of that.
What?
Yes. So everything they're accusing, okay, so are they going to be removing Richard now? But I have a right to bring this into evidence.
Talk about gaslighting.
I know. Okay.
That's gaslighting with the whole damn power plant.
So what they've accused me of, Richard Longstreth actually did. Okay. A difference could be made that they claim I did this on more publicly than he did, but it doesn't matter. Okay. The third thing is in this email that Richard Longstreth said to me, and I missed this the first time because I was trying to answer the larger question he was asking in this email. After he said that people have been trying to remove me for a year, Richard said that he had been fighting them until the New Hampshire thing came up, in which case Richard just explicitly admitted that he went after me for whistleblower retaliation. Mm-hmm. I get to cross-examine him on this. I deserve a trial. I get to cross-examine Laura Epke on who collected all of that evidence because it wasn't her.
It couldn't have been her.
No, it wasn't her. I know for a fact it wasn't, but I need to get this into evidence. I already know who did it. Also, I can't publicly disclose right now what the actual accusation I am making here is. Only the charge, because I am following the rule of evidence gets presented in private until the LNC makes it public. But evidence of things that of different character. An email sent is a bit different than what I'm going to say, which is not public knowledge. There was a lot of lobbying done before this motion was made. I know that's typical in boards. I don't do behind the scenes lobbying, or I do it very rarely. I just think that's dirty is the wrong word because that's not correct. I just don't like the way it makes me feel. It feels unethical to me. To me, your motion should stand or fall on the public merits. All of the debate should be public. None of it should be backroom kind of stuff. Now, I'm not going to say I've never lobbied in the past because I have. But as a general...
that's politics.
Yeah, as a general rule, I don't, though. Like, almost anyone could tell you that. And even when people have advised me to, I'm like, it just doesn't feel right to me. But so the behind-the-scenes lobbying that has gone on, there has been gross misconduct in that lobbying. I can't present that evidence right now. I've told the chair, and I've asked the chair to investigate, which is the proper procedure.
Process.
Right.
And that's in the policy manual.
It actually, yes and no. Yes, the issue is, but the procedure on how to handle it isn't. So I just kind of fall back on Roberts and common sense, that you let the chair investigate it because it involves multiple LNC members. But do I think anything will happen to them? No, because apparently I'm the only one who can ever do anything wrong. Okay, but that's quite obvious to everyone who sees the way other people treat. The way a certain other LNC member needles me constantly and nobody ever says a damn thing to that LNC members. There is one in particular.
I can name about 5.
No, there's one. There's one in particular that everyone knows on the LNC, and they don't say anything to this person. Mm-hmm. So there's all of that. I should be able to pursue this in a trial. I can't do this in a mere motion. And conversely, they have the right to cross-examine me.
Right.
And they don't have that, but they don't want to cross-examine me.
Well, yeah, that's like poking the bear.
Right. They just want to allow these contextless screenshots serve.
They need their basis of their accusations. And this is the same thing that happened with Keaton 13 years ago. And I was there for that too. It's based upon screenshots of statements that were made either in sarcasm, which they don't understand,
or in a very specific
or in a very
context.
specific context that they took offense to because it exposed them for what they're doing or not doing, and it makes them look bad because it tells the members, hey, we have people here who aren't getting the job done, and they're too busy engaging in this other crap of what's happening.
Right.
And it's ridiculous.
And for them to act like, well, you're going to the members and not going to us, on the COVID stuff, I went to them and they shot me down in flames. So my recourse then is to either be quiet and say, and be happy, or happy's not the right word, or just say, oh, well, the Libertarian Party is going to be silent. And that would be a dereliction of my duties, both to liberty, which is a higher calling than this party, and to this party. So I couldn't do that. I went to the members. And that is, I want to just stress enough, what I am on trial for is going to the members. And they don't like it.
And going to the members is perfectly justifiable because they're the ones who elected you, for starters.
Right.
And the second thing about it is, yes, the party was derelict in duty in COVID. And that was probably the biggest colossal mistake that has been made on the LNC in the past 18 months.
Yeah. So that's what I'm on trial for, and they don't like my tone or whatever. But as I've often mentioned before, though, too, for a party that cares so much about diversity and tolerance and all that crap,
the more tolerance they try to have, diverse it gets.
Well, and the thing is, though, decorum and alleged decorum and all that is very culturally based. There are things that are acceptable in some communities that other communities would find unacceptable. And in the background that I come from, again, it isn't the rarefied atmosphere of former senators, but in the background I come from, the way I talk is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, we don't have to talk in the powdered rig, theirs and thous and thuses and all that crap.
So
we speak English.
I mean,
if you don't like the way we speak it, well, too bad. It's our right to speak it that way.
And I had this debate once back when I was more involved in Christian apologetics and stuff, where somebody was taking a lot of insult at the way a friend of mine used to word things very sarcastically. And he put forth this whole study on honor shame cultures and things like that, where he brought in certain aspects of black community and the whole, do you know what playing the nines is?
Vaguely.
Well, it's basically trading insults as a way to gain the upper hand in a battle of honor, basically.
Oh, okay.
And if somebody broke and threw a blow, they're the one who lost honor.
Ah, okay.
But you were supposed to be able to take insults like a man, basically.
Okay.
And that was considered honorable.
You're familiar with the insult guy at the Renaissance Fair?
That sounds similar.
He runs away from me.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he tries to throw the knives at me, he loses every time.
And the funny thing is, that's the type of communities I grew up in. I always grew up in very ethnically diverse, lower middle class areas.
And I'll tell you something, LNC, you want to throw knives at me, you'll lose too.
Yeah. And
because I got a whole library full of it.
What they're doing is being culturally discriminatory, funny enough, against predominantly minority communities. Now, I'm obviously not a minority, but I grew up, the high school I went to was 99% black.
Pink hair could be considered a minority.
Of my own creation.
I see it every once in a while, but
Of my own creation. But my formative years were spent fully steeped in black culture. Again, my high school was 99% black. And again, I'm not a minority. I'm not trying to claim that minority cred for myself.
In that demographic you were, but...
Yeah, well, but I'm talking about...
overall,
yeah. But the fact is, their hoity-toity little standards are extremely discriminatory against those minority communities who would not communicate in the same way they do. And you want to know where we saw this? Remember how incensed the LNC got over Maj Toure? The way he used to talk.
Yeah.
That is a perfect example of their discrimination against minority cultural norms. And how dare they?
Yeah.
That's all I can say. How dare they?
And if you had a guy like a Larry Sharp, just to bring a name up off the top of my head, who was talking like that separately, and he's very active in pushing the message out, to his credit. All props to him. Keep going, man. But if he started talking like that too, they'd freak out the same way.
Oh yeah, they would. But Larry.
If I started talking like a southern redneck or a hillbilly, and I could do that easily if I wanted to, they'd freak out over that.
Yeah, they
Why?
need to be. There's no tolerance, but
communication happens different ways with
right.
different people.
But I think of somebody who is an actual minority who actually demonstrated their prejudice is Maj Toure. And it's a Toure or Tour. I think it's Maj Toure.
It's one of the two, but anyway.
If I'm mispronouncing, all apologies. I don't hear it spoken much. I usually just see the social media in writing.
It's very easy to murder
yeah.
you're not familiar with.
I think I've heard it both ways, Toure and Tour.
But the bottom line of this is that the LNC is, we are not amused.
Yeah, it was, and Maj specifically even said to the LNC, listen, and I'm
screenshot this.
I'm using his own words. He's like, I grew up in the hood. This is how we talk. And he said that. I'm not putting, he said that. And it was something of which they shall not put. Up with, they shall not put. And that's discriminatory. Okay? And again, not a minority, but I did grow up in those circles. And when you're in your youth, that affects the rest of your life. I obviously now do not live in a minority community. My community is as white as they freaking come. I'm in Castle Rock. I think there's 2 black people here. But
hold up your soda can a second. To the camera.
This?
Yes.
Why?
Okay. Some people call that a soda. Some people call it a soda. Some people call it a pop. Some people call it a soda pop. Some people call it a soft drink. It doesn't frickin' matter what you refer to it as. It's the same thing. If you get offended by calling it something that you don't refer to it as, you're the one with the problem.
Well,
not the soda can, not the person holding it.
And
that's the fundamental core of this issue with the LNC. They don't like the way you talk.
That's exactly it.
And that's freaking wrong. Grow up and live with it.
And the fact is the secret of good communication is to try to find out what people mean by what they say rather than just going on the surface level of what they say.
Being offended saying, I don't understand, can you explain it a little better? In college, okay, little story here. This is back in 93. I am.
And I think everyone's, in a minute, we got to actually get to the topic because I think people are getting.
I know. We'll get there. Okay, 93. I am sitting in my dorm lounge, and it is just about time to go down to dinner, but I wait a few minutes to let the early line die off. Pretty typical. They break on the 5:30 national news to show L.A. in flames because of the Rodney King verdict. Now, a few minutes before that dorm lounge was full of people on my floor, a lot of whom were black football players, a couple of them who I was tutoring in calculus, by the way. And they hadn't seen this. They had no idea what in the world was going on. This was breaking news. So I come down there, and I see a couple of them in line. I got this just shaking my head, look at my face like, what's the matter? I told them. They're like, are you kidding? I said, I wish I wasn't. We have dinner and go back up, and of course the TV's booked to the news of what's going on. I'm up there with these guys, and we're talking about it. One of the guys started getting pissed off that I was there. And the other guy said, no, Seebeck's fine. He's the one who told us about it. He's all good. And the reaction was, I didn't understand some of what they were saying, but I asked them, hey, what do you mean there? I don't understand. And they explained it, and it was all cool.
Yeah, you can't.
It was communicating and understanding each other rather than immediately being offended by what the hell somebody says.
And that's actually a biblical. I know you're not a Christian, but sometimes there's words of wisdom. It's actually a biblical principle of don't be an offender for a word. Like, try to understand what's actually being said, and get beyond what you might think is rough around the edges type
or to
thing.
Quote Gary Coleman, what you talking about, Willis?
It's silly. But now to the
let's get back to the topic.
So we actually were there, and we kind of so due process right there. That's all I need to say, and I've won the argument as far as I'm concerned. Libertarians who do not stand for actual procedural and substantive, because there's a difference between procedural due process and substantive due process.
Yes,
the libertarians should stand for both, and they are denying me that right now by saying this bullshit 7 days notice when the prior ruling of the chair said 5 days per charge and there's 4 charges. There's no way. What they're trying to do, it just shows they don't want me to be able to present a case. If they did, now they'll go, oh, you can't read into motives. I'm sorry. After 3 months of this bullshit and me screaming up and down about due process, them for the third time denying me due process, at this point, you have to be a fool not to impute motive. Here's the thing.
Either that or just totally out of it.
No, they've heard me when I put on the rocket boosters, such as when I do at convention when I'm talking about the statement of principles. And they do not want me on trial. And for me, in front of the people, because I'm the populist, to be able to speak directly to them with the rocket boosters on. They do not want that.
And the other thing about it is this, whether you're talking substantive or just procedural due process, that's why we're sitting here doing this. Because we're talking about part of that due process and how business is conducted. And it matters.
And Matt Buckman's going, we want justice. What kind of dramatic bullshit is that?
Is that justice or just us?
Yeah, it's like, what justice? I mean, come on, dude. Like, please do not get overly dramatic. I mean, I know I'm like the drama queen half the time, but really, honestly, come on. This isn't what justice. You think I ran over your dog. And like, what the hell, dude? If you wanted justice, you would be wanting a trial. You don't want justice. You want a railroad job.
You want a purge.
No, it's a railroad job. It's a complete ramrod.
It's both. Purge of one, but still, yeah.
It's ridiculous. I deserve and demand a trial.
Oh boy, I see a graphic coming on.
What?
You bound and gagged.
Oh, no. You're going to get me in trouble. Shh. Come on.
I'll tell you off camera.
Okay, yes, please. No.
It wasn't anything kinky as much as some people might like it.
Oh, come on. When you start with bound and gagged, come on.
It was inspired by railroad.
You talk like the trolley problem.
Yeah, actually. You know what I'm talking about now, yes.
Oh, yeah, but still, we're just not going to go there. Yeah, we're just not going to go. But I get now. Yeah. I get it. And that would be funny. But we're still, they're looking for ammo. So,
looking for ammo, huh? Well, here's some ammunition. You suck!
He said it, I didn't.
I did say it, and she didn't.
But
if you hold what I say against her, that just proves you have no case whatsoever.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they will, because they do have no case. This is personal animus, and that has no place on the LNC. Yeah. And as somebody who wrote the LNC, and I'm not going to say your name, you know who you are. You win the internet today. The person who wrote and said, if only you guys hated the state as much as you hate your secretary.
Pardon my bobblehead, but yes.
That, to me, encapsulates everything, these events of the past 3 months. If only they hated the state as much as they hate me. And they hate me because I do not do the circle the wagons thing. I don't play the bureaucratic game. I'm not a bureaucrat.
You don't go along to get along.
No.
You do your job. And that's what pisses them off.
So
because you do it better than any of them could either. And because they're not really doing their job in a lot of cases, it makes it look bad.
Well, they're spending way too much attention upon me to do their job.
And that goes for the at-large seat warmers as well as the regional reps.
Yeah, at least the regional reps do have to do reports, and they're certain. What are the at-large is like? As I've always said, there is one at-large that works his ass off, and that's freaking Eric Radsup.
Excuse me.
That guy does more. He's a hard worker.
At least he's doing something.
He's doing.
A lot of times at-larges don't, and that's a whole different discussion.
Well, and because they're not required to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different discussion.
Yeah, but Eric Radsup does the whole LP TV thing. Like, he helped revamp the LP store. I mean, he's done a lot that most people don't know about, actually. But so I will constantly fall back on due process. And I think all libertarians should. And shame on you, Laura Epke. And I am, for your motion that denies me due process. And
for somebody who's supposed to be versed in procedure, being in a legislature, you should know better.
Yeah. And being a libertarian, you should know. And all the others who support it, you should know better. And as I've often said, you can even think the charges against me, even though I think they're bullshit, you could think they have merit. you should still oppose them until I get due process. Otherwise, you're an unprincipled hack. Any libertarian that would deny due process, anyone, LNC or otherwise, anyone okay with this, you are an unprincipled hack.
Put that in the charges.
You know, and this isn't just them. Anybody.
Because, by the way, that's not a slander. That's the truth.
Right. Anybody who would deny me or anyone else our due process is an unprincipled hack and unworthy of the name libertarian.
Doc Setsi over in the comments has it right. Denying due process is the opposite of remedy.
Yeah, it's a railroad job. It's what banana republics do. Okay, but now I gotta sneeze.
Okay.
Oh, what my broken rib.
Ouch.
God damn it. Oh, that hurt. Oh my God. I'm not like feeling my boobs. I'm.
No, it's below that. But anyway.
Oh, okay.
Cracked ribs. Any comments?
Okay. All right. So. Comments.
On the board. Go through.
Oh yeah. Now that I got past the due process thing. Right here. I'm gonna. Okay, we thanked Charles for the super chat.
Off,
okay.
Yeah.
And we're gonna. Yeah, Michael Morrison's not presently a member, but he has talked about that a lot of people are leaving the LP, and according to Laura, they're all leaving because of me. And she's right in a way, but not because of me in the way she says, but because of me of what they're doing to me. You're
not the cause. You're the side effect.
Right, or
they're the cause.
Yeah, they're the cause. It's how they're treating me now. Now I don't doubt that some people have left because they don't like me. There's some people who have joined because they like me. That's why you can't use who's coming and going as a metric. There's always going to be people coming and going.
It's a fluid thing. And
if anybody comes or goes really over one person, to be honest with you, they were going to come and go over another issue later. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that even for the people who are like making me the issue. No one person should ever be the issue. Nobody. Not me, not anybody else. So I don't think that's a valid metric, but I will rebut her assertion that people are only leaving because they don't like me. No, they're leaving because they don't like how you are treating me. That is a known fact, and plenty of people are joining because they're like, wow, somebody's finally on the LNC that I can support.
And not only that, but I think how many notices and emails were sent to the LNC the last time I tried this crap in favor of you?
Yeah.
It was almost 1,000?
Yeah, 900.
900? Yeah.
900 emails.
That tells me that, no, there's not people leaving.
They don't listen to the members.
Yeah. That tells me there's a hell of a lot of support out there that they are either oblivious or deliberately ignoring.
And I don't want to
help them any.
I don't want to misrepresent. There are emails in support of my removal as well, but they are far in the minority. But I don't want to act like there isn't any.
No, it's not. Right. There's some on both sides.
Here's I want to answer this question. If they would substitute the trial with the mediation that Nikayla proposed, and Nikayla proposed it with my consent, we talked about it, would that for certain prevent Ebke from getting you removed with this trial at least? No. And that was never the intent. Let me tell you part of the conversation I had with Stephen Nikala and part of the philosophy I have, even with people I don't like. It's not Stephen, I like him. I meant Laura. Whenever somebody's very entrenched in a position and you're trying to get them to come to something more reasonable, you need to give them the opportunity to save face. Always. Even if you think they're wrong. This is a substitute motion that could pass without the accusers ever having to withdraw their motion. It doesn't require them to. If the mediation fails, they can immediately revive their motion. So it allows them to save face, and their motion is not impacted. It's at best, this is a waylay to see if it can be resolved another way.
It's just also a step back.
Right. It's a cooling off thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't impact their motion at all. It does not prevent them from continuing with their motion when the mediation's over with. And that was my idea. I wanted them to be able to save face because I know that's the only way you'll ever move forward. The funny thing is, I'm being a whole lot more reasonable than they're being.
And not only that, but when the previous ones were ruled out of order by Mr. Melman, and deservedly so, that didn't give them a chance to save face, and here we are.
Right. They were going to rebring it.
And that's not Kent's fault.
No, that was the only choice he had.
Yeah, no, he made the correct ruling. They just didn't like it.
Right. But the fact is, that mediation thing that Stephen proposed was my idea. Who's being more reasonable here? I'm not asking for them. Listen, if I wanted to be entrenched, I'd be like, no, then they've got to apologize in blood. No. And I would be bringing my own removal motions. The members don't want that. And so I propose something that is a path forward, and they're rejecting it. Let's let that stand for what it is. You draw your own conclusions from it. I know the conclusions I draw. Okay, Michael Morrison says his internet's having issues. He'll be in and out. Libertarian 4323. Stop paying dues because of this whole nonsense. If I could encourage you, though, the only way you're going to change the LNC is by being a member. Because if you've been paying attention, you'll notice that they look down their noses at people who aren't dues-paying members. And to me, I don't care. If you voted Libertarian, if you're a member of your state party, it has nothing to do with paying dues to national. But there is a rotten culture at the national level in which if you're not a dues-paying member of the national party, they look down at you, and I think that's entirely wrong.
I think there's even more than that. I think it's a case of even if you're a dues-paying member, if you're not doing it above and beyond that up until the life member point.
There is a cult of like whale donors right now, and it is disgusting to me. That's what's driving our messaging, and it's wrong.
And it's ridiculous because there may not be a lot of people who are anything more than just a sustaining basic member, but they give thousands of hours of their time, their own money, their own effort away from their family, away from their job, or whatever you want to call it, for this party that never gets recognized as a donation in terms of making you a life member or whatever the levels are. But that doesn't, because they do that, they should not be looked down upon just because the dollar sign ain't there. There's a lot of intangibles that come into play, and I've been one of those for the past 21 going on 22 years in this party. I haven't always donated a ton of amount, although I have occasionally. But I'll tell you this right now, I've done more than my share of efforts in ways that aren't measured in the dollar signs on the donation sheet.
Right, and we couldn't afford to pay our activists.
And I'm by far not the only one.
Right, it's totally gross. Now, Matt, I'm not going to put this comment up. I hope you don't mind, Matt, only because it's the same comment, basically, as the other, where Matt says he's no longer a member because he thinks the LNC is no different than the Republicans and the Democrats. And I can't say I disagree with you, Matt. Actually, I think in some ways right now they're behaving worse because there's a different expectation of libertarians. You know, we expect the Republicans and the Democrats to act. They're being true to themselves. The LNC is not being true to what libertarianism is. So I actually think it's worse, but I think the only way you can change it is by staying a member. And obviously you have to do you, but I would ask you to reconsider. And one way you can voice a protest is when you pay your dues, deny it to the general fund and earmark it to something you believe in, like ballot access, the Frontier Project, or even the Historical Project. You're right. I just don't like putting that thing first because there's other very worthy things.
The Secretary's Office Supply Fund.
Yeah. Am I like now grift? Is it grift? Grifting? Yeah, grifting again. Or there's a general.
By the way, there is no such fund. We're making it up.
There's the General Legal Defense Fund, which is always underfunded. So there's a lot of ways you can earmark as a protest.
But that's only for generals, not secretaries.
Yeah, only for the general, for General Roberts. And Cam.
And general admission, yeah.
Cam brought up something interesting that I haven't yet brought up. Because that folder, which I'm not going to get into it specifically, of evidence, which should have been given in private. But there are things in there where the screenshots are me bringing to the LNC's attention an assault that happened to me in 2016. I'm now being retaliated for saying it. Like, there's so much wrong. Like, there is so wrong. Many wrong. Much wrong. It's so gross what's being done. I'm saying even to those of you out there who might not like the way I word things, I want you to look at the quote-unquote evidence, see that I'm being punished for saying, oh my God, the LNC is stressing me out today. That is actually one of the crimes listed that I said that. I'm not allowed to say that. This is, it shits on people with mental health.
Punishing people for saying that.
More Clubhouse.
Yeah, for saying there's a problem.
Yeah.
There's
And just
silence,
personal.
and it's not even dissent. It's
No.
just saying, hey, there is a problem.
It's just me dealing with things. Yeah.
There is a problem.
But they're
we can't have that. Suspend you.
It basically
No.
saying that people who suffer from anxiety are not allowed to express that. Well, you want to know how I deal with anxiety is by going to my support network on social media. That's how but they're telling me I can't do that. It is so gross. And shame on you. Anyone on the LNC who's supporting this, shame on you. Again, you might think I deserve to be suspended for multiple reasons. But the reasons that I compare it to the Trump thing, where I'd said Trump deserves to be impeached, but not for the reasons they said. And of course, obviously, I disagree with you. I don't think I deserve to be suspended. But I'm even saying, even if you do, due process and the bogus evidence.
And one other thing to consider. It's very simple. Would you want to be in her shoes dealing with this yourself? And if the answer to that is no, then why the hell are you doing it to her?
Well,
It's that simple.
They think I deserve it.
It's that simple. If you are unable to have a little golden rule moment and recognize that what you're doing is destroying a wonderful lady here, and I'm going to say that directly, you are a wonderful lady, and we didn't always like each other either.
No, we've had our moments.
The reality of it is that, frankly, you got some problems with yourself that you need to step back from all this and address first. Because it ain't right. And simply put, if it was happening to you, you wouldn't be like it either.
Yeah, okay, we had our little
Anyway.
softy moment. But yeah, we're the disgrace.
Oh, by the way, for the haters, she was not sexually harassing me.
Because that might be the next one. She put her paws and didn't ask consent all over that man.
He's placing a.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, Gene, but I'll tell you this: it'd be funny as hell to see what happens.
This is an interesting philosophical question. I should do an episode on it. I don't know. Like,
Gene, I know I've been knowing you for how long now? I love you. That's hilarious.
yeah, I think I'm going to have to be agnostic on that one. One thing I can tell you is not a violation of the Nat Ms. Epke. Words, mere words, are not. And you are defaming libertarianism with that accusation against me. You will pull the party down into the pit of hell with the precedent caused by words I don't like are a violation of the NAP. The party has never held that. That is wokeism. That is microaggression bullshit. Words are not violence.
I didn't bring the bullshit flag with me today, damn it.
I mean, that is really ultimately
yeah.
the worst part of all of this, is that this stands all of a sudden now. The party is saying words are violence.
And that you can censor somebody for saying something you don't agree with. That
remove.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
But that is so completely opposite of what not only the party stands for, but also what the entire liberty movement stands for, as very fundamental based.
I think
you can't do it.
I'm going to disagree with you actually a little bit. I think you can censure somebody for words if their words are advocating anti-libertarian ideas. Like if someone said, I think it was okay to blow up the federal building. I think that's censorable because it goes against our foundational principles.
Even if they provide an argument of legitimate self-defense against the oppression of government?
Well,
which, by the way, I will say has been given in
Oh,
the
no,
past.
but I think the NAP pledge in our party means it doesn't make a moral stance on violence, but it does say if you're going to be a member of this party, you have to eschew it.
Yeah.
So I still think so. Because I think ethically, if you're going to start making an argument for defensive force against the state, and I do think people have made those arguments. I'm a pacifist, so obviously they're not persuasive to me. But if you want to make that argument, you leave the voluntary association of the party. When you're in the party, you have agreed that the political solution is something you still think worth pursuing, and you have eschewed the violent solution.
Right. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I was getting into the broader
Yeah.
perspective. Of
Yeah,
it.
but I'm just saying.
The association within the party, yes, that does mean there's a limit. There's a more of a limitation.
Right. So I'm
but
saying
it's a voluntary agreed to limitation.
it is.
That's the
Exactly.
point.
And
What
I've
they're
not.
trying to do to you is
Right.
There's not a violence advocation going on
Right.
here. They're just trying to shut you up because they got their panties in a twist over what you say.
Well, I was just bringing that up because I knew somebody out there would be like, yeah, but there is certain circumstances, I think, if somebody's advocating blatantly things that go against the party principles. But that's not the issue here.
Correct, it is not.
Right. I've not violated the NAP.
Yeah.
And frankly, even though I don't believe that, I'm consistent because words aren't violence.
There's only one way words are violence.
If you're inciting or...
No, if you get smacked in the head with a dictionary.
Well, but
or a thesaurus or similar. Yeah.
And when I say things like libel and slander, I actually don't believe in libel or slander laws, so I am not making legal claims when I say that. I'm just using it in everyday parlance. But in everyday parlance, Ms. Epke has libeled me by saying that I've broken the NAP.
And they're blurring those lines legally anyway. Yeah. Okay.
Matt says, why pay for dues when they steal from us? So that you have a voice. That's really up to you, obviously. But so that you have a voice and you support the few of us, because it's not just me. I'm just very vocal, but I don't want to make it seem like I'm the lone woman standing on the LNC. We're a minority, but there are other people who are standing up for principle. And you help support our cause when you remain a dues-paying member. I have to tell you, by removing it, you're kind of, and I'm not saying you have any obligation to not do this, because there's no contract between you and I, but just understand the effect of when principled people withdraw their dues, you're throwing the principled people who remain to the wolves. Now, in your conscience, that might be what you think you need to do, so I'm not making a judgment, but I'm just letting you know the effect. When principled people leave the National Party, you throw people like me to the wolves.
But on the other hand, the other argument to that is that because they're standing up for their own principles by leaving, which is by paying the dues, they would be supporting the ones they don't agree with. That's where the earmarking comes in, where you can set it specifically for those areas that you do agree with and put it away from the ones who don't.
And I love this. Laura Epke, will you please see this? Because of what you guys are doing is why people rejoined to oppose. So don't lie and act like I am this cause of a lot of people leaving. That is just false, Laura. And, if you have a just case, you don't need to present one side of the story. Like, I would never say, I'm the reason people are rejoining. No, some people are and some people aren't. Be accurate. This overstating your case, Laura, does not suit you or this party or Liberty.
And let's point something else out. I've been around for what happened with Angela 13 years ago, and I know I mentioned this at the beginning, earlier in the broadcast. It's the same thing. But you weren't around for that. I was. And you guys still, the LNC still, after all these years, has not learned the lesson of being functional, even if you disagree with someone, to get the job done for the good of the party.
Here's the thing.
And to advance the liberty cause in general. Instead, you're engaging in all this circle execution squad because you don't like what somebody says. I'm sorry, that's wrong.
And you think you're going to handle the state? You think you're going to handle the opposition of the Republicans and Democrats and the cathedral when you can't handle a mouthy pink-haired secretary? Really? I think you're just showing your weakness. You're not ready for the fight. But Matt, I wanted to, just because I've been a little tough on Matt, I don't know why, on not being a dues-paying member, and I apologize, that wasn't my intent. I want to thank Matt, though, for being the chairman of his county party. That is a great service, and nobody should diminish that, because that's a lot of work. County party stuff is a lot of work, so thank you.
How about the next one?
What, Libertarian?
Yeah.
Okay, here's one. Yeah, he gives to, so if the LNC can't get his stuff together, I'll just give to county and state. And I thank you for giving to those areas, because your county and state's much more important.
That's more to closer to the grassroots where real work gets done. all I can ask you to do is make sure they have their act together.
Yeah.
And the way you do that is by being involved.
I mean, I would still encourage you to give to national, but I respect your conscience if you don't think you can.
Yeah.
And Shannon asks, what was your most favorite part of the 50th anniversary weekend? Mike wasn't able to be there.
I was not. I had to deal with some personal stuff. Plus, to be fair, with the way that things were blindsiding Karen Ann when this happened, they didn't want me there because she had to leave early because of the situation. I would have heard about it. I would have been there, basically guns blazing against anybody who was an LNC member, not named Josh, basically saying, what the bloody hell are you doing? I would have been a major disruption to the entire event, which would not have been fair to anybody else there who was not aware of what's going on and were there just for the celebration. So it was a good thing I wasn't there in reality, but so I can't say what the favorite part was because I just wasn't there.
I pretty much stayed in the little historical display room, so that was nice because everyone who came in there like already was a big supporter of something I loved. So my favorite part actually was talking to Bill McCord. Do you know Bill McCord?
I've heard the name. But
He's
I don't know him.
an OG. Okay.
OG?
So
Old guard?
No, original gangster.
Okay.
He's like a founder. I mean, I don't know if he was there in 1972.
That's old guard. Case.
Yeah, but old guard kind of has a negative connotation to it.
Depends on what you do with it.
Well, generally, to me, it does. No, he's just an OG libertarian.
Besides, D. Frank Robinson is the OG now.
Yeah. But he's like, and speaking with him and how grateful he was that another generation was coming forward and caring about the history. Yeah. So that was probably my favorite part, is more of the OGs that came through that were grateful for the effort. Because, I love my LNC stuff, not my LNC colleagues all the time, but I like doing the national work. I love being secretary, but the historical stuff is far beyond my passion.
Right.
Long after either I'm removed or I'm term limited voluntarily, or whatever, I'll always be doing the historical stuff. So,
and to be fair, there's a whole lot of fascinating history there.
There is.
Years worth. And a lot of this stuff we're dealing with now is just a small chapter in the whole pile of it.
Yeah. So yeah,
that was in some ways, but it's still there.
And
quick interjection, Shannon. Thank you for the super chat and thank you for the compliment.
Yes, thank you very much. And the thing is, the LNC, they. Remember Richard tried to remove me from the Historical Preservation Committee. I'll give Laura credit that at least she didn't try to remove me from all my...
Why the hell did he want to do that besides just to destroy you?
That's what it was. It was politics of personal destruction. Yeah. But the fact is, I don't need to be on a committee to continue. The stuff's been scanned now, and it's been spread out far and wide.
You want to see the rest of the basement.
Yeah. Well, that belongs to the party.
Yeah.
Like, they could have it back at any time, but most of it's been scanned. And that's already been distributed far and wide. It's out there. I can continue my historical work on my own. Like somebody had said to me, what would you do if like they killed the History Project? I'm like I have all the scans because the agreement was always anyone who sends me a hard drive, I'll send them the scans. They're all out there already. Multiple people have them. I know what it costs to run a wiki, and I would try to start a nonprofit and continue the work because the history doesn't belong to the fucking LNC. It belongs to the members at large.
And the other thing about it is also, if that were to happen, you'd have to put it back together again, but it could be done.
It could be done. It would be a pain in the ass.
But it could be done.
But it could be done.
Getting the information to a digital state where then it can be reconsolidated by itself is a majority of the fight.
Yeah, and
you've done a hell of a job on that.
And the people out there who send the party stuff, these boxes, if they thought the party wasn't going to take care of it, they'd just start sending it to me. That's just and I would donate it to the party if they wanted it. Because one thing I want to make clear, I'm super, super mad at the LNC, but I would never, ever, like when people go, oh, when you say you want a lawyer there to protect your rights, I want to make it clear 1,000,000 times over, I would never sue the party. Why? Because it would hurt the members. And I'm not going to hurt the members, ever.
Yeah.
Just not. I don't care for the LNC, but I love the party.
Yeah, the issue here is not the membership. It never has been. The issue is the people in the LNC.
And not all of the LNC.
And not all of them, but a specific chunk of them that are just acting like a bunch of petulant junior high school bullies.
Because I called them out on their dereliction of duty. And you want to know, and listen, I'll have to let Richard speak for himself, but I want to tell you, in that email where he said they've been trying to remove me for about a year, I think he overspoke. I actually think he meant starting around November, December. But again, I can't modify his words. His words as they stand mean immediately after convention. But what I really do think he meant is when I started speaking out about COVID, because I know the moment that the asses just got chapped. And that was when, and I played it live, when I said to all of them, if you do not do anything on COVID, you should disband the party right this moment.
And there's tons of members who agree with that sentiment, myself included.
And they
I've been about as vocal against this whole crap from before day one as anybody.
And they didn't like it.
Still am too.
They didn't like that I formed an independent committee. And then when the committee came up, and this is going to become very poignant next week, again, more details I can't give you on, but there's a connection here. When the committee came up with a plan, did you know that when I just wanted, I think it was 5 minutes on the agenda just to give them an update, members opposed even hearing about it? La 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 la. It was so gross.
Okay.
That's when they started to, I believe that's what Richard meant, but again. Okay. Because you fucking, we got to put this up here. Here you go. All right.
Don't tell my wife. She might think.
Oh, look at this. Oh my God, look at this. You didn't violate the nap. You interrupted their nap.
Okay, that's second place for bringing you today.
Yeah, you're runner-up for the internet today. Oh my God.
Yes, the LP has been asleep in the response.
And we're getting to the bylaws and Roberts. Oh my God, we're never gonna get to the calendar. We're gonna be here all night. Okay.
Well, it's easy to do in this case.
And thank you, Shannon. Shannon had said that she's a big reason. Oh, I got to put this up here because Laura Epke needs to see this. This is for you, Laura. Some people are joining. Okay, some people are, but maybe. It's not the people you want to pay attention to. I don't know. Mean Girls LNC edition. That is... Oh, wait. Hold on. Didn't I have it? No, shit. Remember I had the one that says you're such a bitch, Karen?
Bitches MP3?
No. It's the one... Oh, no. It's the one we call you... Oh, Karen's such a slut. That was from Mean Girls. I don't know if you ever watched Mean Girls. Okay. All right. Now let's go... We dealt with due process.
Low achievement gene, that's about right.
Then we dealt with the comments, and we thank you for the super chats, which of course is one of my crimes. It's like you guys are aiding in my.
It's a bird, not real. It's a plane. It's a super chat.
Yeah. What's it? You're contributing to my delinquency by sending me super chats. So send them. That's part of my crimes, apparently.
There was one back up there a second ago.
It was
driving.
Oh, what?
Scroll back up a second in the comments. A little more. There it is.
Oh, yeah. But I'm not going to...
No, I know.
Yeah.
It's funny,
it was funny, but we already dealt with our urging to still give to the LNC, but if you can't, we understand. Okay, so now to...
Get the pink whistles.
Now to Roberts and the bylaws. First of all, I want to do Roberts. So I'm on removal from office. Stop being distracted.
Looking what? What is she going to say?
She said looking too hot.
To those
Boom, chaka. Oh, wait, hold on.
Put that one up and then...
Yeah. Hold on. Shannon, you are going to get my very special...
Chaka wow wow.
Okay, we've got 30 people on stream now. They want us
superhero and call yourself super what? Super chat? Okay.
Yeah, super chat. Okay, so but now we've got 30 people.
You need a pink cape for that.
Yeah, well, I might have one. So
wear that to the meeting.
Listen, don't tempt me.
I am.
Don't tempt me with a good time. Okay, so removal from office.
Okay.
Which in the new thing is 6216. And this
and
gets...
the old one, it's 62,653 for those following along at home.
And this gets a bit esoteric.
Page 63.
But it's important. Actually, I want to go to the bylaws first because I want to look first
Pardon my sniffling.
Where's
I've been fighting allergies for the past couple of weeks.
Here's the bylaws. Okay, I want to look, and I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go off screen for a second because I'm going to share this. Oh, we're on the side. Okay, I want to share first the little snippet that gives them, first of all, the authority. Well, actually, Roberts gives them the authority to remove. But the thing that talks about removal.
That's right at the top there.
No, it's right here. The National Committee.
Officers is up top.
Where?
Good. Scroll up a little bit right there, number 7.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so number 7, this is the basic procedure. The National Committee may, for cause, and the fact is, for cause, and don't bring up that one comment that I didn't think should have been made. It's on here. We've talked about it earlier.
I'm not following.
About cause.
Okay.
I'll just expound upon it. For cause actually has legal meaning. I know JJ may disagree with me. That he thinks for cause can be because I have pink hair. I tend to disagree. I think in just general libertarian fairness and in a legal background, for cause means like very specific. You have to commit malfeasance, like you stole from the party or something. I don't think they have shown cause. But anyway.
And usually in most organizations, for cause will have a specific explicit definition within a set of policies somewhere within the company.
Well, they don't here because, they don't want people to go, well, that's not in the list when it's obviously something that would be for cause.
Yeah.
But I do think the legal background of this is determinative. It's not, oh, you farted in the meeting, we're going to remove you. It's not meant for petty stuff like that.
Now, wait a minute. Depending on the nature of the fart, that might be cause.
Yeah. So the National Committee may, for cause, suspend any officer by a vote of 2/3 of the entire National Committee, excepting the officer that is the subject of the vote who may not participate in that vote. Okay, I just wanted to do that first sentence. We're going to come back to this when it talks about the JC and all of that. But that's the basic process. All this says is that they have the right to remove, and it tells you the vote threshold. Contrary to the arguments that Epke and company are making, it does not here at all say the procedure. It's silent about the procedure. All it says is that you can do it, and here's the vote threshold. It's silent on procedure. When your bylaws are silent on procedure, you go to Roberts.
By definition.
By definition. But there's another argument besides that. But to me, that again is determinative. Now, here's where we're going to get a bit esoteric in Roberts' removal from office. We had this fight on LPCO when they wanted to remove the language which talked about the terms of office of the directors, where they wanted to say they serve for 2 years. No, because what happens if you don't have a successor? All of a sudden, your whole board no longer serves once 2 years expires.
The argument against it was you get the 2-year point, you haven't had another convention to elect new ones. You can't have a convention because their terms have expired. No one can run a dang thing.
So normally there are 2 options to put in your bylaws where you say, and the examples given here are that officers shall serve for X years or until their successors are elected. Or alternatively, it can say for X years and until their officers are elected. And whether or not your bylaws chooses the word or and makes a big difference. And that's why I don't have people write bylaws who don't know what they're doing. Because most people wouldn't think that would make such a big difference.
Now, Colorado's is a little bit different than even that, because ours explicitly says they will be elected at specific conventions, and their term ends at the election at the end of that specific year convention.
That is an and. We're going to get into this because so does National. National says the same thing. Right here, it says the National Committee shall take office immediately. We're on Article 7, subsection 3. The National Committee shall take office immediately upon the close of the regular convention at which they're elected and serve until the final adjournment of the next election.
Now, isn't there a similar clause up for the officers above?
No, because it's talking about the entire National Committee here, which here it says the National Committee shall be composed of. Okay. So it's dealing with,
Well, I was thinking it's parallelism. But
no.
Okay.
Now, it's not following the exact language of Roberts here, but if we're going to apply it as closely as it does, it basically says and until they're, and until the close of the next one.
It gives an explicit definition of what the term is from end to end.
And it uses the word and not or.
Right.
Okay? So, it says here under removal from office, if the bylaws provide that officers shall serve, I skipped the sentence that doesn't apply to us, for X years and until their successors are elected, which is basically what this section says, an officer can be...
Whoa. Flip to the other page second.
This is a different one. This is
Second
the or
bullet.
one.
Yeah, okay, second bullet, okay.
Okay. And until their successors are elected.
Okay, I'm with you.
Okay. An officer can be removed from office only for cause. Okay, it says that. That is neglect of duty in office. I haven't neglected my duty or misconduct. That is arguable. In accordance with the procedures described in Chapter 63, that is, an investigating committee must be appointed, charges must be preferred, and a formal trial must be held. Now, I'm not even insisting on an investigating committee.
I would.
I'll probably raise that in a point of order. I have to consider that. I haven't raised the point of order yet. I've been more concerned about the trial.
Yeah. Well, in order to have a proper trial, there must be the proper investigation first.
I agree, and I'll probably raise that then in a point of order.
And just to point out also, the Section 63, talking about investigation trial, is literally the very next set of words in Roberts.
Right, and it requires 30 days notice.
Uh-huh.
So they are violating the libertarian principle of due process, which is, I don't think the libertarian principle requires an investigation committee. I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah.
But I do think it requires the formal trial. However, our parliamentary authority, which we all agreed to, it's part of our contract, does require an investigating committee. And an investigating committee needs to be impartial. It's not Laura Epke. It probably isn't any member of the LNC.
See, I would argue the way this is worded, that it requires both the committee
It
and
does.
a formal trial.
It does.
If charges are preferred, yeah.
Yeah, no, it does. No, Roberts does.
Yeah.
Basic libertarian principles, I don't think require the committee, but our parliamentary authority does.
Right.
Basic due process to me requires the trial. The other things are more what Roberts requires.
I would argue that the investigation, based on what Roberts, I agree with you.
Yeah.
That the committee has to be done first, and if they say charges are preferred, then you have the trial.
Right. The committee is the one that prefers the charges.
But if they say, and I think preferred is the wrong word there. I think referred is the correct
No,
word.
preferred. It's to proffer. It's just another form of the word to proffer charges.
Because that still seems like the wrong word. Anyways, but then if they say, I'll use a grand jury term, if they no bill it, then nothing happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a point of order that will be raised. I can't raise it right now because the motion hasn't been put.
There hasn't been anything new from on the list either.
Yeah. I can't do it until the motion is
public
put.
list anyway.
And it wouldn't be on the private one.
Yeah.
Once the motion is put, this is a point of order I'm going to raise. Because I am entitled to this according to Roberts. Now I'm going to give you another argument.
That is actually, Mr. Stewart, an inaccurate statement.
Yeah, it can't take place during the trial because the investigation, the investigatory committee has to proffer the charges that then triggers the trial. This isn't about due process and common law. We're talking about Robert's Rules of Order. So Robert's Rules of Order is what we are bound by, not common law tradition.
Yeah.
Now, I will agree with you, Robert's, on basic libertarian principles, I don't disagree with what he's saying. But we're dealing with Robert's Rules of Order.
Common law tradition is lower in precedence than Roberts.
Yeah. Yeah. Basic justice, I do agree with Charles, but our parliamentary authority, which we have all agreed to be bound to, requires something more than what common law would require. It expands my rights, basically. And the rights of the membership. Remember, the members elect the officers, and the rights of the officers then are the rights of the members. The members have a right to make sure that the officers they elected are treated in a certain manner.
Right.
Okay, but I have another argument as to why our bylaws require a trial. And let me find that here. I'm trying to find where it talks about the shifting burden of proof. Okay, right here. All right, so we're going to go back to this section right here.
Article 6, Section 7, yeah. Which is
No,
right
this one right here. We're going to...
That's Article 6, Section 7.
Oh, derp. Derp, 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 derp. Okay. All right. The part we are going to where it talks about our appeal right here. Oh, well, I'm just going to read the whole thing. The National Committee may, for cause, suspend any officer by a 2/3 vote of the entire. We already read that part. So
Right.
the suspended officer may challenge the suspension by an appeal in writing to the Judicial Committee within 7 days of receipt of the notice of suspension. Failure to appeal within 7 days shall confirm the suspension and bar any later challenge or appeal. The Judicial Committee shall set a date for hearing the appeal between 20 and 40 days of receipt of the appeal and shall notify any interesting persons which person shall have the right to appear and present evidence and argument. So before going forward, people have argued I'm not entitled to a trial because the trial occurs at the Judicial Committee. That's not the case, and we're going to see that in a moment. Because a trial, the burden of proof is on the accusers, not the accused.
Correct.
That is the basic definition of your first level trial.
And here's a point, if interesting. Now, what constitutes notice of suspension?
I think this is written old school where they have to send it to you. To me, I would interpret that if I'm at the meeting where the chair declares the vote, that's notice.
Okay.
I would consider that notice.
Because
if I wasn't at the meeting, I think they'd have to send me a letter or something.
Okay, because I see a loophole here, which that's what kind of raised the question, is that you can appeal if you're suspended, that you can appeal within 7 days of receiving the notice of the suspension. What if they never send it to you? And then the 7 days passes. There's a loophole there.
Oh no, they have. It doesn't tell them a time period that they have to give notice. They can give notice 60 days later, and then that triggers the 7 days.
Right.
There's no requirement that they give notice within a specific period of time.
I'm saying if they don't give notice at all.
Then
yeah.
then I'm not. Then there's no suspension. I have to know about it. I think this is anticipating a suspension where the officer doesn't show up.
See, the way that's written, though, is saying that the suspended person can challenge the suspension by an appeal within 7 days of when they're receiving the notice of suspension. If they don't receive the notice of the suspension, they're still suspended, but they lose their appeal right by not having the 7 day period. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that's not going to apply to here.
It better not.
No, I'm going to be at whatever hearing, and that's going to be the notice.
Okay.
So
you see why I raised the question here. There's a possible loophole here. If it mandated that the suspended officer be given receipt of the suspension upon the vote, then that's not the story.
It should require here a time frame to give notice.
It should.
But this whole section sucks. It favors the LNC, which I don't think. I think it should always favor an accused because they're in a lesser position of power.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Right. But so the basic part of a trial is the accused is presumed it. So the burden of proof is on the accuser. So if we continue reading here, it says at the hearing, and this is the Judicial Committee hearing, the burden of persuasion shall rest upon the appellant. Okay. That is the person appealing, because some people don't know the words appellee and appellant. That would be the accused. So this is a shifting of the burden of proof because the Judicial Committee is an appeal board. That it's appropriate to shift the burden of proof at that point because the accused has already had a trial in which they've been proven guilty.
Yes. At this point, the appellant is alleging to the Judicial Committee that the suspension was invalid for whatever reason.
Right.
And therefore, because they make that assertion, they have to back it up.
Exactly.
Just like at the original trial, the people making the assertions to get the suspension have to prove their case.
Correct.
It's always burden of proof upon the person making the case.
Now, but I'm going to show you here a part that sucks, and I think the delegates have to reverse this, but it would require a bylaws amendment. It says the Judicial Committee shall either affirm the National Committee suspension or order the officer's reinstatement within 30 days of the hearing. Now, here's the part that sucks. Failure of the Judicial Committee to rule within 30 days shall constitute an affirmation of the National Committee suspension. That should be opposite.
Yeah.
That is so abusive. No, you can have somebody who's stonewalling.
Yeah, they can run the clock out.
Right. Failure to affirm, failure to rule should mean reinstatement. And this needs to be dealt with by the delegates. But it is what it is right now.
Is there a similar clause below in the National Committee article?
I don't know. We'll look.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we'll look. I believe it's exactly the same.
It probably is.
Yeah. At such time as the suspension is final, the office in question shall be deemed vacant. So until it goes through all of this, the office is kind of in limbo. And if the LNC has any business, they have to appoint an officer pro tem, whoever the officer is. Now, just want to remind everyone, right now, I am in the middle of preparing delegate allocations and all kinds of very other important work that I have the experience to do, and a pro tem person will not. Unless perhaps, they might put like Alicia Matson in pro tem or something like that. But because the National Party doesn't have a policy for where all the records are on my personal drive. I won't be a dick though. If I'm in limbo, I will give everything on my drive, because again, I might not like the LNC, but I won't harm the party and I won't harm the delegates. But I'm just saying, their chickens are coming home to roost.
The idea of a suspension, especially this late in a term,
right? It's ridiculous.
Creates a logistical nightmare that's going to have ramifications on Reno, and not just because of the people that are going to be showing up en masse to fix this, but the reality of it is the logistics behind all of it.
But let's also
where the problem is.
Now talk about potential worst case timing. Let's say they suspend me on September 5th. Then I have 7 days to appeal.
Which is the 12th.
Right. And I will wait until the 6th day.
Yeah. Because
they're going to fuck around. I'm going to fuck around, and
everybody has other things going on too.
But with my appeal, I actually have to do my argument and everything though too. So it's not just delay.
Let me ask a question. Is that actually the case?
I believe it is.
What did the Judicial Committee proceeding rules say about this?
We'll go look at that next.
Because that may be a factor. Anyway.
But in any event, I'm not going to file it the next day.
Right.
I will be proving a point that they are waiting to so close to convention that they are the clowns. Okay.
Yeah.
But if I thought it would harm the members, I would file it the next day. What's going to guide my actions throughout this whole thing is the members. Yeah. But anyway, then the Judicial Committee will set a date for hearing the appeal between 20 and 40 days. So we're already out to the 12th, let's just say.
Yeah.
And let's just say they set it out 40 days.
Well, 20 days would...
No, I want to do worst case.
Well, I know. I'm doing the numbers here.
Okay.
Okay. So you're at the 12th. 20 days out would put you to September 32nd, which is October 2nd. Okay. And then add 20 more to that would put you to October 22nd.
Okay. And let's just say worst case. So then the hearings in late October.
Yes, I said September 32nd, but it gets the point across.
Yes. And then they have 30 days to issue. That puts you into November. We are now 6 months away from convention.
And on
when the delegates can settle this issue.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. And let's say they do give me proper notice for my due process. That would require 30 days. So now we're saying the suspension couldn't happen until October. So add a month to all of this with a JC decision coming out in late December. We're now 5 months away from convention. This whole thing is ridiculous. Let the delegates decide.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, but while that's all going on, there are other things that are going on with convention prep behind the scenes. You got committees like bylaws and platform that have got to meet and do all this stuff. What kind of shadow is this going to cast over them, especially the bylaws side?
Bylaws more so than platform. Yeah. I'm on platform committee unless they try to remove me from that.
So am I. So
but
I've already said this before. If they're removed from that, I'll run for. Sure.
Right. If they might try. They don't have any cause to remove me from platform.
They don't have any cause to remove you from anything, let alone the subcommittee.
Well, here's the funny thing. you want to, here's where I'm going to show you where this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
And how it's quite apparent that it's New Hampshire retaliation. With one exception, and I think it was Valerie, but I could be mistaken, but with one exception, all the people trying to remove me right now all voted to make me interim platform committee chair. So they obviously didn't think I was such a terrible person on June 5th.
Right.
What happened immediately after June 5th? New Hampshire.
Uh-huh.
This is all about New Hampshire. This is all whistle-blowing retaliation. It's ridiculously transparent. Mm-hmm. And actually, Laura admitted it was at least partly whistleblower retaliation, because in her list of charges, she said it's my fault that JBH resigned.
It's not your fault.
No, it's his own corruption.
Yeah.
But she listed that. So at least
that is a blatant gaslighting of his actions onto you.
Well, but it's also blatant saying you are getting back at me for New Hampshire.
Yeah.
At least Richard was smart enough to not say it directly. It was obvious what the motivation was. In my opinion, allegedly, all the other weasel words I now have to use. But Laura wasn't cautious at all. Like, I don't believe she wrote any of that anyway. I know who got the evidence, and I know who got the evidence. That makes me think that same person wrote it, because whatever issues I might have with Laura, I think she is way too smart to make some of the mistakes that were in the list of charges, like admitting that it was whistleblower retaliation.
You might be surprised. Sometimes people get the attitude of, "Well, I'm smarter than everyone in the room," and then doing so make mistakes.
No, I don't.
I've done that myself sometimes. So,
It's not in her style either. I don't think it was her, and I do think she's way too smart to have done some of the mistakes that were in there.
In any case.
So there is the case.
Okay, let's hold on a little bit.
Okay, yeah, now we're going to get, but those three factors, I just want to repeat them before we go off on another tangent. We might not even get to the calendar today. This would be a special edition, but it's of interest.
Oh, yes.
So the three cases why a trial is necessary. Libertarian, just principles. 2, the terms of office in our bylaws, then invoke the formal trial procedure in Roberts. Number 3, the shifting burden of proof. Mm-hmm. Those are the 3 reasons why our bylaws, Roberts, and libertarianism writ large requires a trial. And how dare they deny me my due process? Mm-hmm.
And if they ramrod this through, that's the very first grounds of appeal.
Correct. I've got a lot of grounds of appeal here.
But that would be the very first one, top of the list, or anything else.
Though I don't know, what the Judicial Committee's opinion would be, but honestly, to me, it's obvious. Tyler, I disagree. I do think there needs to be a provision for removal if, say, the treasurer was embezzling funds. Like, you can't keep that person there.
Or say one of the officers went out and committed a legitimate violation felony.
Yeah. No, I
say the vice chair murdered the chair to assume the position. That would be a definitive problem.
Yeah, but I think that for cause, if the JC, in whatever case, I think there needs to be some boundaries to it. I think for cause is a boundary, but apparently this LNC is just blowing that out of the water. So obviously now I don't disagree with Tyler here. I would rather see it get referred somehow to the delegates. Like, they have the email addresses. And to me, I agree with you there, Tyler. So what Tyler is proposing is that, yes, an officer can be suspended. It's just that not the LNC who can do it. The delegates can. Tyler, come to convention. We can propose this from the floor.
Yeah, one of the things about that, this is just something I've been running around in my head for the past couple of years on bylaws committees, is this is one of the things that we've kind of done to some extent on the state level in Colorado here, is putting the delegate position actually as a internal elected position, which it really is.
It is, because we do elect them.
And then that specifically confers a series of privileges and rights and responsibilities that come with it, which we understand.
But that continue until the next convention.
Correct. And that was the big thing, was that right now the terminology for a delegate doesn't have a specific term of office, to use the term, to it.
But it's implied.
But it's implied, and I would like to see it be made explicit.
It's more heavily implied in the national bylaws because the JC, because the members do have a right of appeal of LNC decisions by submitting 10%
Yes.
of signatures of registered delegates. So the LP bylaws do confer continuing authority, limited upon the delegates.
Which raises the question, can 10% of the delegates make an appeal of this
Yes, they can.
as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Nothing says they can't. It's a decision of the
Actually,
LNC.
no, I take that back. I know that's the case because we did that with Lee Wrights.
Right. I mean, I could...
Because that judicial committee tried to dismiss that appeal by the delegates. And they claimed it was moot because Lee appealed separately, and I fired back to the judicial committee and said, no, you cannot call this moot because it is a separate appeal.
But you can join them as related cases.
And I told them that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yes, no, the delegates, if I am suspended, can also appeal, and they could have a completely different argument than me. They'd be submitting their own brief on their own behalf.
Exactly.
And listen, if I'm suspended, you guys appeal, and if there's something else you can appeal, by the way, and I don't mind showing my hand here, because again, I don't do things behind people's backs. If my motion that I deserve a trial is denied, there needs to be a delegate that's in the gallery, what you went to last convention, who says, I'm going to gather 10% to appeal this decision that she's not allowed a trial. Mm-hmm. You need to postpone this thing until my appeal is heard. Mm-hmm. It would be even more persuasive if you had 10% in hand, but I don't think you can gather signatures before you have an actual decision.
You can't.
Right, because those people might not disagree when they see the actual wording of the decision.
No, you can't get that cart before the horse.
Right,
no.
But I think you can say, I'm appealing, and I request that you give me X number of days to get my signatures, and that this needs to be postponed until my appeal is heard. Because otherwise, if you continue, you are prejudicing my appeal right. You're making it moot, and I have rights as a member.
Right.
So, yes, Doc Sexy. So somebody, hint, hint, needs to be there to do that. And I also, as a member, am part of both appeals.
Yes.
Because I can sign off because I was a delegate as part of that. And I voted for myself, obviously. Shannon Lee, I will prepare steps for people to take, a cheat sheet, as it were, if this is pulled off. I'm going to fight this every step of the way. And honestly, I could lose every step of the way. I intend upon winning in Reno. And I've already said, if I'm suspended, I'm rerunning in Reno, and I'm not guaranteeing to anyone that I will rerun for secretary. I might be the nightmare that says, be careful what you wish for, and run for vice chair.
And the reality of it is this.
Now, maybe not. I'm not saying I will, because I do love being secretary, but all I'm saying is there's no guarantees. And hell, if for some reason Angela, because I would never run against Angela, but if for some reason Angela decided she wasn't going to run, you guys might end up having me as chair. Be careful what you wish for.
Sometimes losing a battle can cause you to win the war.
Right. They're making a martyr out of me. It's so foolish. Like, if they really were looking to destroy me, this is the worst possible way. I want to let's pretend that I was Laura Epke and I just hated Karen Ann Harlos. What I would do is work behind the scenes to nullify her every action by through the LNC. I would convince the rest of the LNC to ignore her, to freeze her out. Every time she tried to make a motion, vote it down, call the question. I would just make her life a procedural hell. I wouldn't make an open martyr of her, because all these little procedural things, the members don't follow it or understand it, and they wouldn't get outraged. But what they're feeding into right now, it's the Streisand effect.
Yeah.
You know what the Streisand effect is? I want to explain to the audience because they might not know. There was once in Hollywood a map of stars' homes that you could buy, where you could just go down the street or, and do this tour to see all the homes of the stars.
They're still there.
Yeah. But Barbara Streisand had a fit that her home was listed and sued to get it removed, which she was successful at. But then more people just kept putting out underground maps to where her house was, just to spite her.
Yeah.
Because she called more attention to the fact by her protesting that I don't want you to see my house. And it's actually now known as the Streisand effect.
One of the things they did on that, because I was out there when this was going on, is people started putting chalk messages on the sidewalk outside of her house.
It just got crazy.
Barbara Streisand lives here.
Right.
And she couldn't touch that because it was a public sidewalk.
So with them, like, oh, we can't have her as secretary. When you tell libertarians what they can't have, they want it. It's like, if their actions are almost guaranteeing my election in Reno. If they just made me of no consequence, they would probably make it harder for me to get reelected. But they're not strategists. They're running on pure hate. And
the mistake is not marginalizing but vocalizing.
Right. They're amplifying me.
Yes.
As I said, I'm going to conventions now. I walk into these conventions and I'm treated like a conquering hero.
Rock star.
Yeah, it's all they're doing. It's all they're doing. And they're just foolish. They're not strategists running on pure hate. And do you want your LNC running on animus?
That's what it's doing now.
It is what it's doing. So, okay, are we going to do any of the calendar?
If we do, we need to take a quick break and then come back.
Oh yeah, no, this show want to be standalone because it's not really Cult of R. It's just you and me talking about this situation. So I appreciate everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, Stephen, let me put this on the screen because I want to tell you something else.
Yeah, that one needs to be discussed.
We're in the way. Sorry, I had to remove. My concern about Reno is the possibility that LNC members, district reps in particular, in favor of suspension may try to stack the deck of delegates against you. That is a distinct possibility, though it's not as easy as that.
As a matter of fact, it's downright difficult.
It's very difficult, but they will engage in tactics that will. It's not as straightforward as that, but the result will be the same. They can do things to make this happen.
Because one of the punchlines is that the designation of delegates to Reno is almost totally the purview of the state parties. And, when there's a specific number of delegates allocated each state, and you know what I'm talking about there, the numbers, that is about the only place they could try to stack the deck, is to try to fill up that number of people with delegates who would be, for lack of a better term, hostile against Karen Ann. However, ... in order for them to do that, they would have to engage in a 50-state nationwide whispering campaign against Karen Ann in states that, as we just said a second ago, where she's treated like a rock star. It's not going to fly very easily.
Well, let me tell you the path. I could listen. Their tactics aren't, and plus, I can, I don't ever act Machiavellian, but to my horror, like I can think in those strategies. But that's good because I can counter.
You gotta know how to think like that.
What I said earlier is what it is. Is if I'm gone, they're going to make a big show about how productive they are. What will happen is they will try to erode my reputation. That's the way, that's the path, is to erode my reputation. They've got a certain core group of people who's more than willing to go out into social media and do that. And again, that's their right. Like, I'm on social media. I mean, that's their right. But that's the issue. When I'm not there to defend myself, they're going to make a big show. Now,
remember, they think it's their right, but not yours.
Of course. But they'll just do it on the official list. It'll be all on the up and up. The other thing, though, is if you don't have the votes on the LNC, that's the other thing, Matt. That's what I was getting to.
We'll get there.
I believe there's a very decent chance that either the state of Nevada or the Nugget, where we're having the convention, may decide that you have to have a COVID vaccine passport to attend. And before the suspension motion came out, I put the LNC on notice that I wanted them to deal. I asked for a discussion on convention contingencies.
Escape clause.
Correct.
Yeah.
That they would pull out of any convention that and have it elsewhere if a COVID passport was required. But it wasn't just that. I asked for time for convention contingencies. Whether or not that resolution gets heard is another matter, because with all of this suspension that happened, I'm just going to be completely forthcoming here.
Yeah.
I didn't submit the language because they distracted me with the suspension thing, and I don't think that was accidental. So they may deny me getting that resolution heard.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua will bring it, or somebody at another meeting. But I did properly notice a discussion on convention contingencies, and someone could always start and we could work out the resolution there. But I am going to, by a 2/3 vote of the agenda, which I may not get, try to get that resolution heard, but that might not be. But what will be heard this weekend is, and it's my bad that I didn't get the wording in, but I was so devastated.
Yeah.
I just couldn't think. I just couldn't think. I haven't gotten in my historical committee report yet either. I did get my secretary report in because that's more important, the officer report. But they devastated me with this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in any event, yes, Matt, and I'm trying to head that off, and I think I'm going to be foiled at every turn, and that could be one reason why they want to remove me. But even if they remove me, Joshua will pursue it, or some other people will pursue it. It's going to get heard with or without me.
And you're also, and if they do require it, I can guarantee you, there's going to be people who are going to show up with fake passports or whatever and saying, Mullen Labe, motherfuckers.
Yeah, I think the LNC may, and I can't say this for sure, I'm just worried about it. I don't want to say, oh, they would definitely do this, but I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that the LNC will try to salt the soup because they have fear of a Mises planet,
Yeah.
And they're going to do whatever they can.
But at the same time, the idea of the passport or vaccination requirement is not a Mises issue versus Prags or anything issue. It is an individual freedom, bodily sovereignty issue.
But
which transcends all that, and the LNC needs to have that made clear to them.
But it does in a way. I mean, if you look at the demographics of the party, the people who are more likely to have gotten the vaccine would be people who are more likely to identify with the Prague Caucus. The people who are less likely to get the vaccine, statistically, are more likely to be Mises Caucus. So I do think it is a caucus issue.
Well, that's an effect. That's more of an effect than the actual cause. So.
Tyler, I don't believe the convention committee would require it. The convention oversight committee, even though I'm at odds with them over my suspension motion, like Aaron Adams and I do not agree on that. She wants me suspended, which I just think is really rich, considering that she was on the Drunken Disorderly podcast and said when she gets hate mail from members that she masturbates to it. Okay? She's one to talk.
I can make a very nasty comment, but I won't.
I thought it was hilarious. I still think it's hilarious. People wonder where I got my joke where I said if you try to censor me over New Hampshire. It was very specific. It wasn't about any censure. I said I would fact to it. Right. I was joking because I was channeling Aaron Adams. When I go and say, oh, you could go fuck right off, you want to know who I'm quoting? John Phillips, another person who's trying to remove me, who has said far worse. You know, you got Jared Hall, who gets on social media and makes fun of member emails constantly, and that's okay. Listen, I think it is okay. I want to make it clear. Erin Adams can say whatever she wants. I think she's hilarious when she does it. John also can say whatever he wants. I think he's hilarious. Jared Hall, if he doesn't like member emails, he has every right to go on social media and make fun of them. What they do not have the right to do, though, is deny those rights to me as well when they are exercising them. That's the problem. I only bring up Erin and John because of the hypocrisy, not because I think they did anything wrong. Erin could say she masturbates to hate mail all she wants. I laughed my ass off when she said that.
Does she have a federally protected vagina?
We all have
Sorry.
Well, she and I have
that was not the comment I was thinking of earlier. That just rolled out.
But they both have the right to do it, but they don't have the right to act like that and then pretend to be my judges.
Yeah.
You know? And allegedly John's big deal is because my YouTube channel is monetized, and he claims that I didn't disclose. Okay, what he's going to try to claim is, in my disclosure that I had a YouTube channel, I didn't disclose that it reached monetization status. Well, you want to know what? When people disclose that they work for, like Laura Epke with the Platt Institute, it's an institute. She doesn't need to write on there, and I get a salary, because you assume it. Anyone knows anything about YouTube that once you get a certain number of viewers, it becomes monetized. I have had a Patreon since day one. You want to know who was my first subscriber? Susan Hogarth. These people cannot pretend like they didn't know. They watch my YouTube channel. And what I disclosed was that I had a YouTube channel. That is all I am required to disclose. It comes with the bundle of assumptions that of course you're doing it, that you're going to get support.
And by the way, that disclosure requirement is laid out in the policy manual.
Yeah, you know. Now, maybe they don't like the way I disclosed. They thought I should have written more. Then they could have asked for that. They've known I've had this YouTube channel and that I've been working towards monetization because we've all talked about it since last term. You can't know about something and then all of a sudden play a gotcha. The idea of the disclosure is not a form for form's sake. It's to make sure they are informed. And they have been informed since way before this term. It is so gross. You know, listen, Shannon, I was going to get...
I'm sorry, I don't mean
with
to
the
laugh
OnlyFans.
at the comment, but yeah.
No, Shannon, I joked. I'm surprised this isn't in my list of crimes. Please put this in my list of crimes. I joked once, and it's a joke, but that I was going to get an OnlyFans account and stream me. I wouldn't turn my camera on for the LNC meeting of the public portion, but I'd have a private camera where they could watch me at an LNC meeting online topless. I did say I was going to open an OnlyFans for that, so it would be topless LNC.
I remember that comment because at the same time my reaction was, "Oh, Carol Moore ain't going to like that."
And listen,
or maybe she will. Who knows?
Listen, I've got some nice girls. I think I would make bank on that, but it was a joke. Okay, because I do think that would be not taking the LNC meeting seriously, and they have no charges against me of my behaviors at meetings.
Well, wait a minute.
None.
Well, wait a minute. They don't take the LNC meetings seriously.
But I do.
If they did, they wouldn't be doing this whole stupid circus in the first place.
I would never do a topless LNC meeting. You know,
well,
but
there's always the Xena outfit.
Right, I wouldn't do that either. No, you see me even on Zoom when some people show up in jeans.
Yeah, bad decorum.
Yeah.
Well, it depends how you define bad.
Yeah. If you know a lot of people in these Zoom meetings, they show up in t-shirts and jeans. Watch any Zoom meeting, you'll see I come to Zoom meetings in a suit.
Yes.
So they have no charges against me in meetings. They're going after me because they don't like what I say on my personal life. Do you want that precedent on the LNC? The fact may be you don't personally like my social media either, but you can't make it quote unquote illegal. What you do is elect somebody else at convention. That is the remedy.
And if you don't like what she says on social media, what do you think you are? Facebook to censor it?
It's ridiculous.
They're not.
The thing is,
if this is the hypocrisy right here. We've had party affiliates, local on up, caucuses like Mises, get zucked because of what they say.
Mises
on
is
their
back,
pages.
by the way.
I know, yeah, they are back. But at the same time, when they're fighting against that, they're doing the exact same thing to Karen Ann. Now, you tell me exactly where in the hell is the consistency in that? There isn't any.
Valerie Sarwark is on Facebook mocking me, saying I'm a whistleblower, but they're not coming after her.
Well, you are a whistleblower. I gave you the whistle.
But, you know,
Yeah.
Who was it that had a real... Jared Hall had just a completely nasty post about me. He did end up taking it down, but it was up. And Richard was just slagging me in comments and that. Why isn't he being censured or removed? And David Valenti, when somebody said they were going to challenge him for his seat, which is a legitimate thing, he went off on them and called them a gelding and just all kinds of disgusting things. Now, he did end up apologizing and removing the post, but it was there. It was there. But no, I am the one being singled out. It's not right.
Tyler makes a great point. First, when Richard was doing it, the rest were silent. Susan, the rest were silent. Now it's Laura, the rest are silent. Who's next?
Susan has needled me since last term, and everybody sees it, and nobody will say anything.
She takes a holier-than-thou attitude towards everything.
Yeah, and I'm not the only one she needles, but she's been needling the hell out of me.
After I sent off my complete blast fest to the LNC the last time, by the way, I resent that earlier today, about the last time, she's like, well, I'm sorry you chose gaslighting. And I fired back, and I said, I don't really give a damn what you think. Because you're wrong, you're arrogant, you're full of yourself, and frankly, you need to step down.
And I'm not going to name names here on this part because it was correspondence in, not in the LNC list, private, and people could choose to believe me or not because I'm not going to bring receipts. But other LNC members have told me that the way Susan behaves to you is abysmal, and she's been doing it since last term. But I'm glad they admitted it to me privately. Why aren't you confronting her publicly? Why is it just me? Now, Richard has been quiet. Richard actually...
Messages.
What was that?
Sean Hickman. Said the haters are sending emails.
To who?
Need sports with long help. That's in your messages from something. Yeah.
Oops. Is my screen... I don't want all my messages on screen, so let's go back here.
Super chat for Karen and Raj, which are... Thank you, Price 48.
I'll have to look on my messages. I don't know. No, the people who don't like me are also sending emails saying to support. But it's a copy paste. I don't know who gave them the text, but it's the same message, like just changed a little, that uses the word histrionic. Like, that's not a word that's in very many people's vocabulary. So when you get these multiple messages,
there are many podcasters who would love to have you interview. I'm happy to host a room
on Clubhouse.
Okay, so that's those are Clubhouse messages.
Sean, get me on Clubhouse. I've done it multiple times. I would love to do it. There's some things I can't talk about until afterwards. But the fact is, what's going on here is they can treat me any way they want to, and I'm not allowed to respond. They can respond, but I can't, and that's not right. And I'm fighting this not just for me, for the future. This precedent is terrible, and you don't have to like me or my methods to agree on that.
What's irritating about it is that this has happened before, and they refuse to learn the lessons of it.
Well, I'm trying to get Angela Keaton on my show.
Like I said earlier, you get Angela on the show, I want to be there.
Well, maybe you could ask Angela to be on my show.
I can certainly ask.
Because she might not remember me.
Oh, she knows who you are.
Okay, I don't know.
I know that.
Okay, but you.
She and I have had a couple conversations.
Well, then ask her to be on my show. Amanda Gibbs, if you would like to send an email, go to lp.org and then scroll down to the bottom in the footer where it says Libertarian National Committee. Hit that link, and then there's a contact form on that page. that's the way you would contact them. And I would truly, truly, truly appreciate it. Will they listen? I don't know. But it will help me in my defense when I can say I had X number of members write in support to show that they are not listening to members. And Tyler, if you're a member of a state party, I'm sorry, you have a say. Everyone who writes, if you're not a libertarian LP, big L libertarian, don't write because it really isn't your business. But if you are a member of your state party or national party, you should have a voice.
You do have a voice.
Right. And
you have
write.
a voice through your state party to your regional rep.
No, but I meant to write the LNC.
Yeah. But you can also do your regional rep directly.
The regional reps they all have their minds made up, I think.
Yeah,
and
still.
But you have a right to write the LNC. But if you're not involved in the LP at all, please don't write because this isn't your fight. You're not a member at all. And I'm sorry, please become a member. And if you want to write, maybe join the national party right before and then write and then fine. But please limit people who write who are actually members either of state or national. And I know some people will disregard you if you're not a member of national, and that's bullshit. Mm-hmm. So if you're a member of state or national, you're a Texas member, you have a right to have a voice, Amanda. Right. Mm-hmm. And I hope the LNC learned its lesson the last time it denigrated people who were writing who weren't national members.
Obviously they haven't.
Well, we'll see in this case.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
But I think we beat this to death.
We've hit the 2-hour mark on this, yeah.
But
nothing personal, but we need to take a break.
Yeah, no. And here's what I suggest for Cultivar ONR if we want to do more.
Yeah.
And I really wish Whitney would issue that ruling.
Nothing yet coming on the business list. I've been watching.
Okay, I mean that's her prerogative.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't have anything bad to say about Whitney.
Hi, JJ.
Hey, JJ, we were wishing you were here the whole time. We were having fun. We were being dirty little capitalists, too. Oh, listen, tiny URL /cult merch, MERC. Buy our merch. Of course, you can't get tie-dye, but you can get this one on white or black, long sleeve, short sleeve, little tote bag.
This was a white one, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. He got it made. Which maybe, is that a public business?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Do you mind if I give a
Oh, no. Go right ahead.
Okay. I got this done through a wonderful lady I know up in Idaho, of all places. Her name is Arlene. Her business is called Tie Dye Everything. I have had her do some work for me in the past on various things. She did this one. She's done this one most recently. If you call her on the phone, tell her what you have in mind, you send her the stuff, she can get it for you in about a week or so, and she does, as you can see, fantastic work.
So this was a white T-shirt that you got off my Teespring,
right.
Off our Teespring,
right?
And then you sent it to her, and she tie-dyed it.
Correct.
Okay,
yes.
Got it.
Yeah, and her
and she could do this obviously for other merch that is in white.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I actually did a pair of long sleeve polo shirts that were white that I've been trying to find for a long time, and she did them in
so when I finally get someone to design that yeah. Is that a gavel in your pocket, or are you happy to see me? She can also tie-dye that one.
Yes, she can. Yeah, but her page is literally tie-dye-everything.com. Yeah. And she's out of Moscow, Idaho, for anybody who's up there in person. And you know what? Send her some business. She's an SBO. She does fantastic work. I'll recommend her to anybody. And she's done me well twice now, and I appreciate it.
Well, here's what Amanda said, and this is something we can do.
She'll do bulk orders too.
If we, I got to take a look at because we have a Patreon page. Uh-huh. We don't push it much, but which is why we don't have any Patrons. But here's, I think I'm going to put in the tier level. Uh-huh. If somebody joins our Patreon at the top tier, which I think is $25 a month, they can get a premium of we'll get a shirt tie-dye for them.
We can arrange that.
Yeah. So we're gonna offer the tie-dye. So Amanda's saying that will be a way that you can get it by supporting the show, and I'll add that to our Patreon. I think that's a nice benefit.
It's about $20 a shirt for her.
But if somebody's
color and labor, but it's worth it.
If somebody's
like I said, I like her work. Yeah. You know.
If somebody is committing to be a top tier patron, I think there's always a perk. I mean, every show normally gives perks.
We can figure it out.
And I give Pink Flame of Liberty for my top donors. They get a T-shirt. Of course, it's just a regular one, but you know, I think that would be a nice perk because we don't have any Patreons right now, so we gotta work that poll. Wait, hold on. We gotta work that poll.
Chicka wow wow.
We're just horn for the money. Okay.
Put that on your frickin' charge list. We actually need a plug for a small business owner.
Yeah, and I said we're money whores, and we'd work that pole. I want a stripper pole in here so bad. I think I am gonna get a stripper pole in my studio.
Where are you gonna put it?
Oh, listen, you've seen.
We're a little cramped in here.
Yeah, but you've seen how versatile I've done. Have you seen?
That's what she said.
But you know, I can move this out. I want to get one that I can. We got to put a ceiling in here first, but that I can move. You know, so just for some shows, wouldn't that be great? I want a stripper pole. Let me put it on a wish list for this show. A stripper pole. Wouldn't that be awesome? It would be. We got the disco ball too. We can like get some nice lights and do a. You know, we'll scare people away.
You don't want me on a stripper pole.
I do.
No, seriously. You'll need to call the ambulance afterwards.
No. But what if we put out a challenge if somebody was an X dollar supporter that you would do the stripper pole?
As long as I'm taking the clothes off. I'm not Jimmy.
No, yeah, not naked.
No, we ain't doing no Jimmy Weeks stuff here.
No, not naked, just fully clothed. But like if somebody agreed to sign up at whatever support level,
You better put a GoFundMe on there for the hospital bill.
Yeah, I'll make a high donor level and say if you sign up at this donor level, Mike will do a stripper pole dance. I love it.
With or without the barb dildo.
Yeah, the barb dildos are optional.
Make sure. Yeah, no kidding.
No, but it actually might be better. I've seen that happen. I wouldn't do that to Mike though, but you know.
I feel like a pole vault going bad.
Yeah. Listen,
Hey, that might be one poll I could lead in.
But listen,
JJ says Mike on a poll. Yeah, I'd lead that poll.
Outside OnlyFans, just on regular Patreon, I bet you we will be the only show that has as a patron perk that one of the hosts will get on a stripper pole.
JJ, you could put that in a follow-up article on an app magazine.
Listen, we make learning. Listen, so you guys,
But just for a reference point, we did get a mention in the NAP magazine.
Yeah, from JJ.
JJ did a great article on it.
Okay, guys, we're going to take a break, but as usual, I hope you learned something about parliamentary procedure, though, in all of the fun. We're just relating it to real-life drama that's going on a real-life board, but I would highly suggest that you read that section on discipline. It's something to master because if you're involved in a county, state party, or even, your homeowners association, whatever, any kind of parliamentary society you might be involved in, you need to understand this. It's
not only that, but it's just in general, the whole sections of 61 through, all the way back through the end of 63.
63, right.
Is a really good rundown on due process procedures.
Yeah. So
it really is.
Oh, yeah.
Hold some future mock party meetings with runner supporters as officers to train future leaders. We've talked about that
We've talked about doing like a mock thing, and I think that would be fun. But before we go on break, I always say that, and I
keep something else going.
I know, that's why I say at this point, this has to be the last thing. Otherwise, you can smack me. I give you consent. If we come back, we'll talk about that. What I think we should do is just do a real speed go through to catch us up, meaning we just ask the questions and answers and we don't go through the references. Just do like boom, 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 a speed thing. Round. A speed round with Roberts.
We can do that.
And we might talk, if something gets a little weird, we might just briefly say why, but boom, 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 and it'll give you a chance to beat my ass. Hold on. It'll give you a chance to beat my ass. Hold on.
Chicka wow wow.
All right, guys, we're going to go take a break, and I think we're going to come back to do a speed round because I'm like so stressed out about us not getting caught up. Okay? Doc Sexy loves us because people, when on other shows, they're scared to say his name, but I'm always like, Doc Sexy. You want to know who hasn't shown up?
Who?
Oh, Tyler's asking. Tyler, I will put in the show notes my GoFundMe, because that's where you can donate to get me to all 50 state conventions. There's some coming up I'd like to go to, but thank you for mentioning that. And I think
make sure you put the schedule up there too.
Yeah, when we come up to if we remember when we're doing speed round, I'll have the link and I'll put it up, but I might forget. But okay, guys, we're gonna go take our break and hopefully come back.
Mother Nature calls, so we must answer the call.
Oh, he's got to take a pee.
I didn't say that.
Oh, he's got to take a poo.
I didn't say that either.
All right, we'll be back.
It might be number 3 for all you know.
Yeah.
Which is a
Bye-bye.